So an update on me lately. Been trading futures, as people who have followed this know, for pretty much my whole career, 17, 18 years. Don't even remember anymore how long it's been. Maybe it's 20 years at this point. But the point is I started doing that, and that's my skill set. I got a job at a prop firm in Chicago, and that's what everyone did. And I learned to trade indexes, S&Ps, Euro stocks, 10-year futures, a little bit of currency, but mostly equity futures. So when the market has a lot of volatility, especially when it goes down even, there's a ton of opportunity, and that's kind of my home and my comfort. And when the market grinds up slowly, there's not as much opportunity, and it's not as good for that style. So I made my way with that style in a way, feasting on those days and becoming patient and trading bigger on those days and building that skill set. And I had that with me forever. I could disappear for 6 months, come back in one day, turn it on, and it's there. I can just step right in because I've done it for so long. And the reason I say all this is because I'm adding number 2 and number 3 to those skill sets, and I'm working with some different people on adding some small cap earnings winner strategy. I'm adding more of a stock-based swing trading strategy and some other things that use a lot of the same skills that I had in the index, which I still use, but it's different. And my goal is to be able to thrive in any market. So I expect to make money every year, not just when it goes up. I don't need a bull market. Right now, I'm probably better when there's not a bull market, honestly. But when there's a bull market, the index is tougher sometimes because it's going up every day. And those who trade the index understand what I'm saying. It can be day trade the index or futures, event-based strategies, that stuff. But what works really well is momentum trading, swing trading, lots of movement in day trading. There's all this retail activity going on. And individual stocks can have a lot of opportunity that the index doesn't. The index could kind of be crappy and flatlining, gap up and do nothing, but there could be a lot of stock movement. So I'm adding these things, and I found that the first 6 months, you probably trade too big and you lose some money, and it's frustrating. And then all of a sudden, 12, 18 months down the road, you feel like you've started to sunk your teeth into a new skill. And once you get that skill, you keep it forever. It never goes away. You have it, you can add to it. And I think a lot of people, they get stubborn and they want to keep doing what they've made money on in the past. But the beauty of it is that they all come back around. I mean, in March and April, it was fantastic to be in the index. And the index has still been good to me this year. But right now what's been better is stocks. Swing trading, looking at the breadth of the market and finding when it flips, looking at waves of what are money managers doing? Can I get in the same stocks that money managers are getting in when the market breadth is about to turn up? And I know that they're going to be in these. I use a money manager, and part of the reason I use one for some of my money is to see what they're buying and understand what their thinking pattern is, and can I reverse engineer that, and can I get in front of that with my trading? So I'm always having lines in the water, doing a lot of different stuff so I can build what I'm doing. And eventually, that's the thing, is it's to move more money. You say, okay, when it's busy and the world's blowing up, I trade futures. I'm right back at home from what I started. But when it's not, I have all these other things I can do. And they don't conflict with each other. They actually bleed into each other, but they're also different. And they're not, it's running the 200, running the 100, and running the 400 meter. They're all a little different. You might be best at one, but you learn to be good at the other one to really add to what you're doing and to scale up and trade bigger and be more consistent and to be stronger across all time frames and all markets. And you shouldn't just need a bull market to make money. Right now, people who make money in a bull market, that's great. But we haven't seen a real bear market in so long. I don't think people know what that's like. But when you do, you realize that you need to learn that stuff. So you start learning it. I mean, if you do this long enough, you start to go through that. Maybe not everybody does. The way I'm wired is to be always learning and growing and pushing myself to come up with something different and adapting. And I think a lot of people who are in this for a long time are the same way. And it's where can you add something that you don't have? And a lot of times that's uncomfortable. And again, one of the things I'll say is you find out what you're not. You try to add a lot of things that you're thinking, this is not for me. This might work for somebody, but it's not a good strategy for me. There's no strategy that works for everybody. You can't copy people in this business. We've talked about that in other podcasts. It's impossible to copy somebody, but you can pick up things from them and add that to what you're good at. So there's absolutely room for adding different strategies. You hear people say shorting is always bad. Well, that's a stupid comment. Yeah, markets usually go up and shorting is difficult, but in pockets, in the right atmosphere, it's a fantastic strategy. So nothing is good or bad all the time. It's a matter of, everything's a nuance, and you're looking to add more skill sets to press that. And, going and building your network and talking to different people, listening to podcasts, maybe trying a few groups, you'll waste a lot of time, and there'll be a lot of stuff that you don't want to do, but you find something in there that you do. And when that happens, it's maybe your next strategy you're developing. And everyone starts with one strategy, one thing, and they go from there. And that's what I did. It was, even within futures trading, it was one kind of trade. I've talked about that in other podcasts. My first kind of trade I ever figured out was Fibonacci levels, everyone getting stuck, and then me, buying the trade when everyone was stuck, following some stupid technicals that worked the first time. And I still use that stuff on busy days because people forget about it and it works again. So it's just, it's constantly learning and growing. So right now I have a coach that I'm using full time. So that's super helpful. I do that once a week, and that's working on the behavioral, emotional side and ironing out my own patterns. And then it's working on the other two strategies in addition to the futures. So it's not about, I have this, I can just, you can just rest on your laurels and wait for the right market and do your thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I shouldn't even say rest on your laurels. That's not a negative thing. This is what I do. I wait for it and I'm good at it. Great. I mean, that is a fantastic strategy. For me, it's always, what can I add? Where can I get stronger? There's always a place to grow. So it's just my mentality. So it's, that's what's happening right now. I'm about 18 months into one strategy. I'm starting to have a little more success with it at times, and knowing at least when to use it and when not to use it. And the other one, I'm newer. It's maybe 3 months in. And so that's all happening around my core stuff. So you learn too, when you try this, that you learn, I go in too big, and I treat it like it's just something I've been doing for a long time. It's funny. You think, if I'm trading for 20 years, I should be able to do a different strategy and be successful right away. It's not the case. You might be faster, but there's a lot of humility that comes into play because you get in your own way. It's almost like the clear mind is better than the beginner's mind is better than the one that's full of past strategies. But you work through that and you learn and you start to set the expectations. So the second or third time you do it, you're faster at it.